Hey guys, Steffi this side, and the topic we are going to discuss today is a very generic one. And if you own a laptop or a desktop, I'm sure you would have wondered for an answer to this question, which is how to speed up your computer. And for the solutions, we have a couple of them. Some are hardware ones and some are software ones. So first, let's talk about the hardware ones. And these would be very helpful if you are building a new custom PC or you are just upgrading some older parts on your current PC. So the first option is regarding the processor. If you're going for a new processor, go for a processor which has high number of cores, like a 4-core processor or a 6-core processor. Because higher the number of cores, more applications can be run simultaneously by your computer, which will eventually increase the multitasking capability of your computer. So go for a processor with higher number of cores. Now the next component we need to focus on while building or upgrading a PC is the RAM. First, decide how much RAM is sufficient for you. And if you ask me, I would recommend 16 gigs is more than sufficient for anything. And I would also recommend that you go for 2 sticks of 8 gigs rather than a single stick of 16 gigs. It's better for heat transfer, or you can say the heat displacement. Now the next thing we need to focus on is the speed of those RAMs. And if you want a decent performance system, go with options like 2400 MHz or 2666 MHz. And there are options higher than that, but until and unless you are overclocking your PC, you don't need those options. So go for 2400 or 2666 MHz for decent performance. Now the next option to make your computer faster is to use a faster storage. And there are 2 ways to discuss this. If you're building a new PC and if your pocket allows, go for a dual storage system. That means install an SSD as well as the hard drive. Use your SSD to install the operating system and all the other applications, and use your hard drive only for storage purpose. Now as your operating system and all the other applications are installed on your solid state drive, your computer will just fly through everyday tasks, because SSDs are way faster than your standard hard drives. But SSDs are expensive. Just for the comparison, a 1 terabyte hard drive is cheaper than a 250 gigs of SSD. But if you can afford it, I would say go for this system because it's absolutely worth it. But if you cannot afford an SSD and hard drive is the only way to go, I would say choose one with a higher RPM. Because in market there's a standard version which has a 5400 RPM, but there's a higher version also which has a 7200 RPM with not much of a price difference. So go with that. And of course it won't be as fast as when you install an SSD, but there's still some speed difference and you will be able to notice it. Now let's discuss some software solutions to make your computer faster. And by software solution I mean we are going to make some changes in the Windows that is already installed on your computer. First is to remove the bloatware or the company pre-installed apps. Like if you buy a laptop or a desktop from companies like HP, Dell or any other company, you will find that there are lots and lots of useless pre-installed apps which you are never going to use ever. So first thing after buying a laptop is to remove all those applications which you are never going to use, because if you keep them there, they are eventually going to slow down your PC. So take care of that as soon as you buy your laptop or a system. Now if you're using the same PC for a long time, there might be some applications which you installed for a specific purpose, and when that purpose is completed, you forgot to uninstall those applications. Now it's time to uninstall all those applications. Click on the computer tab next to the files tab, and you can see the option uninstall or change a program. Click on that. New window will appear depending on the Windows version you are using. Now one by one, remove all those unused apps that are taking space on your hard drive, and in my case the solid state drive. Then you can see that there is some performance difference on your laptop or your system. Now the next thing to do is to disable apps at startup. You might have noticed that when you buy a new laptop or you build a new PC or you install a new operating system, your system boots up really fast. Just like that, and your system is ready to go. But after some time, it doesn't boot up nearly as fast as it is used to. Just for that, you need to disable apps at startup. For that, go to the task manager by clicking Ctrl-Alt-Delete, go to the startup tab, and you can see which apps are booting up automatically when you boot up your PC. So disable those applications which you think you don't need. Do it for all those applications which you think you don't need. And also you can see the impact a particular app causes on your boot up. Now the next thing to do is keep everything on your system up to date. I mean like everything. All the software should be up to date, all your computer drivers should be up to date, and all the Windows updates should also be installed. And you can see the performance difference. Now apart from the above discussed options, we still have a couple of more things which you can do to speed up your computer. First is cleaning up the temp files. For that, you need to go to My PC, go to that partition of the hard drive in which your operating system is installed, go to the Windows folder, and then go to the temp folder and delete all these files which are before the current date. And make sure you delete them from the recycle bin also. Now the next thing you need to take care is only fill your hard drive up to 80 to 85% of its maximum capacity, because if you go beyond it, it will eventually slow down your PC. If you need more storage, install a new hard drive. Now, the last thing to keep in mind is that you keep your system clean from dust or sand, because dust or sand is practically every computer's enemy. It prevents proper airflow through the system, which is absolutely must to keep the temperature of your system down and keeping the performance high. So clean your system on regular basis. And one last thing for this video, and I'm sure most of you would know about this. If you're using a laptop, there are 3 performance modes for all the laptops: a high performance mode, a power saver mode, and a balanced or a recommended mode. Use high performance mode when you are playing games or using intensive apps, and use a power saver mode when you need a longer battery life. And about the third mode, I am still wondering what that does, because other two solves my purpose, so I never use that. But if you want to switch between these 3 modes, click on the battery option, or right click on the battery option on the right bottom side of your laptop, and then click on the power settings or advanced power options, and you can see the 3 modes and switch between them. So that's pretty much it for this video. And if you learned something today, make sure you subscribe to this channel to learn next week something again. So thank you guys. You take good care of yourself, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Namaste.